My name is Ian Linkletter, and I'm an educational technologist, and my talk today is called Protecting Our Values in the Shadow of Tech Giants. All of us have personal values, things that we believe in that nobody can take away, and here in EdTech, we have a lot of shared values like collaboration, education as a social good, respect for one another, and the pursuit of knowledge. We are extremely fortunate to be able to express ourselves through our work, and we're also fortunate to live in a country which values our freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. This is a letter I wrote in 1994, 25 years ago when EdTech was being founded. I was born and raised in the United States, and this is who I am. When something is wrong, I write. And here's a story about that getting me into trouble. There's a US company, I'm going to call them FIPA Book, which offers a free discussion platform for courses, and most of our institutions use it, I checked. There's a saying, if you're not paying, you're the product. But our students do pay. They pay a lot. They go into debt paying, and it's our institutions that aren't paying. A few years later, they came out with another platform where students can look for jobs, and they made it opt-in by default. And they took all the existing students and they opted them in too, without their consent. And they sold their data, and I caught them. I reported this within my institution. FIPA Book agreed to some changes, but they refused to switch from opt-out to opt-in. We set our boundaries, they said no, and it became big EdTech news. Popular discussion platform FIPA Book getting pushback for selling student data. I read that article and I learned a lot, and I realized that I knew a lot more than other people knew. So I left a comment on the article adding my top 5 concerns and signed it with my full name. And I posted a link to the article on my Twitter account. And what happened next, I think about almost every day. The CEO of FIPA Book looked me up and began emailing senior leadership at the university about me. And some phrases that jumped out from those emails, thank you, freedom of information, were, please express our sincere apologies. We have learned from our mistakes. We'd love to move past this incident. Ian's comments and public lashing are making it difficult to do so. I hope Ian can put this episode behind him, understanding that we are only human. Keeping a 10-month story short, here's what happened next. A senior manager at the university called me to strongly caution me. It was clear they hadn't read what I wrote. This is what I said. This manager followed up within my faculty, and I was told I had no right to make the comment. This is what I said. And just before Christmas, I was told there would be disciplinary action, which at my university means one of 3 things: a disciplinary letter, suspension, or termination. I am so grateful for the support from my partner and loved ones during this time. 2 months later, I received a disciplinary letter and it was put into my file. And I didn't write anymore. With APPS, my professional association, I filed a grievance for the university's attempt to violate my freedom of expression. And the letter was removed from my file eventually and replaced with a letter of apology. Going through this experience, it became very obvious to me that it was normal. Everyone thought they were doing their job, and they trusted everyone before them that they were doing their job. And the story is not as surprising as I feel it should be. And all it took was one strong leader saying, we're not doing this, to stop it. And I'll remember that for my entire life. We're the ones that get to define normal. When we express ourselves freely, at full volume, without looking over our shoulders, we show that we're not afraid. And when directors and senior managers and leaders stand up for their staff, they earn their trust and build a better culture. It only takes one person saying, this is not okay, to hold the line. Our current laws, our institutions, our leadership, they are losing this battle. Tech companies can afford fines, they can afford legal bills, and they can afford to ignore us, but they can't afford to lose market share. So it's up to users and user groups like EdTech to raise these issues, share information, and hold these companies to account. In the educational technology community, outspokenness can vaporize market share very quickly. So EdTech, here's what I ask of you. Look out for each other. Stand tall. And we got this. Thank you.